Welcome to the GEM video training series. My name is Jan Latovsky and I am the Data Team Supervisor. In this video, I will explain how to use the APS data quality syntax to check that your APS data are correctly collected and recorded. This is the last of 3 data quality syntax training videos, so we recommend that you begin with the first 2. But if you haven't seen them yet, a quick review. Data quality syntax is a set of SPSS syntax files, which allow your team to check and format your APS dataset before submitting it to GEM. The syntax replicates most of the quality checks conducted by the data team, so you're strongly encouraged to use this resource both during and after data collection to catch any problems we may flag. Because the syntax only identifies problems and does not correct them, all changes and revisions have to be done independently. And your SPSS dataset should never be saved after running any of the code. There are 3 main data quality syntax files. This video will focus on the second, which checks that all APS values have been properly recorded, and the third, which checks if skip logic errors have led to any missing or excess data. To use the values syntax file to check for miscoded or out-of-range data, you will first delete all the preset missing values, the don't know and refused options. Then, run the provided code to identify and summarize any incorrect responses. And finally, you can run some frequencies for remaining variables which cannot be automatically checked. So first, run this syntax to delete missing values. And check the output to make sure it worked properly. If any of the variables in this command are not in your dataset or are misspelled, you will see an error message indicating that an undefined variable name was specified, and therefore the code didn't work. Next, you will run a long series of syntax which will create new interim variables to determine if the values for every core APS question are within range or out of range, meaning incorrect. Or if it is a question which should have been asked of the entire sample, this code will also identify any missing responses. The output will show frequency tables for each of the checked variables. These will tell you how many cases have values that are within range, marked 0, out of range, marked 1, or missing, marked 2. Next, if you happen to have a custom table add-on in your SPSS version, you can run this syntax to produce a summary table of every variable that had any errors. If one of the responses to the variable noent was incorrect, for example, you will see a table like this. And if there are no errors at all, you will see a message that the summary table is empty. Finally, because we cannot automatically check every variable, we also provide syntax to simply run the frequencies of some remaining demographic and open-ended questions. This is just a reminder to check these questions manually for any irregularities. The third data quality syntax allows you to check if any skip logic errors in your survey resulted in missing or unneeded values. Like with the previous file, you will first delete all preset missing values. Then run the provided code to identify and summarize any problems. Again, run the syntax to remove the defined missing values and check the output to make sure that it worked properly. Then, you will run another series of code to produce 2 sets of interim variables for each core APS question. One type of variable is used to identify missing data. So if a respondent should have been asked question 1C and he wasn't, for example, a new variable called SEL_1C would have a value of 1 for this case to identify the problem. There will also be another variable produced to indicate if an answer was recorded when the question should not have been asked, and therefore should have been empty. But don't worry about the details of these interim variables, because any errors in the data will be clearly summarized in the output. So here, for example, you can see that one person should have had a response for question 1C, but did not, and the output will also identify which respondent this was. And if you run the custom tables using the summary syntax below, you will see an easy-to-scan summary of all the detected skip logic errors, or a message that the dataset was error-free. So this is the values and skip logic data quality syntax. To learn more about this resource in general, and for a detailed overview of the formatting syntax file, you can watch the other 2 videos in this series. Thank you for taking the time to watch this training video. If you have any questions, please contact me or the data team, and we will be happy to help.